Welcome, everybody, to the Horrific Film Fest TV show. Um, my name is George Ortiz, and I'm the host of the Horrific Film Fest TV show, and my co host is Marie Raven. Tonight,
Hello.
we have two awesome guests that will be with us tonight. We have Razel from Dark Footage Entertainment VOD, and my good friend Benjamin Martin from redmars.net. And we're going to have an awesome conversation tonight. This is going to be a good thing for not only for the independent filmmakers, but also for those that want to get into the industry. So let's start with this. We're going to have you, Marie Raven, starting with some questions for all of you.
Okay. So this question is for Razel.
All right.
How did you start a company? Excuse me. How do you start a company, or how does someone start a company?
Well, how my partner, he's not here today, Eric Donnell Redden, he's the CEO of Dark Footage. We met years ago on a show called, if you guys remember the movie called Gridiron Gang. From there, we became friends. We was actually doing background. And then I got into stunts. He got into directing. And over the years, we started building up our brand called Dark Footage Entertainment. And then from there, we went into making our own platform. So that's how we got started.
What is it into getting into platforms? I mean,
Yeah, you have to. Yes, good question. To get a platform done, you have to do a lot of behind the scenes. So he had a lot of video people and mechanics that deals with building a platform to work with them. So me, myself, no, I cannot make a platform. But if you're wondering how to get that made, it takes a lot of work and it is a lot of money, to be honest with you. But there do have programs where you can learn it, but it's a lot of work what goes on behind the scenes, how things move and react. So
wow, that sounds
there
very
you go.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Well, Benjamin, this question is for you. Um, how has in the past productions workflow changed in the past 15 years?
So with a lot of the digital tools that are available now, it used to be just when I graduated college back in '98, you had to go somewhere and work for someone because to get a computer that could edit or that could do visual effects or that could do the sound mixing, that was $100,000 for the software license. And so, but over the past 15 years, everything's gotten so much cheaper. So now that same power that was available to the major studios is available to all, independent filmmakers and stuff. And so one of the things that's changed is that like when we used to be editing, it would be, okay, you edit the picture, you get the picture set up perfect. Maybe the editor does a little bit of dialogue editing. But they're basically just doing like the bare minimum on sound effects, usually just maybe a little bit of a temporary music track. And then after maybe 6 or 9 months of editing, when they feel like the movie's ready to go, they will then say, okay, we're locking the picture. And then they would spread the post-production out to all the other teams. So the composer would start writing music. The sound editors would start designing their sound effects and editing them in perfect sync with the picture. And the visual effects artists, they would still go by shots, but they would be starting in on their shots, and they know, okay, it needs to be this long from here to here, and this is what we need to do. All of, if you were going to make a change to the picture during that process, it could cost a lot of money because all those people have to go back and resync all their stuff or change what they were doing. But now it's a lot of those tools are available, so you can have when the last thing that I was editing, I was editing the picture and I was actually editing the sound effects with my picture just right in my session on my computer. And when it came to doing visual effects, I was doing those all in the same program. It was like everything was all in one, all encapsulated. And the fear used to be, well, you can't do all in one stuff because you're going to have to pass it off to the next team or the next group of people. But with a lot of the tools and technology today, we can easily just do a lot of that. It's no longer a hindrance to have to go to other places. I'm not
Yes,
sure if that
guys.
answers the question.
Oh, seems like a
Awesome.
lot of,
Technical answer.
Awesome.
it's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick, guys,
So-
I just want to take this moment real quick to say hi to a couple of guys that has just joined us
All
in
right.
our show. I want to say hi to Jackie Rivera, Anis Marie La Torres Mendez, Domingo Lopez, and
Right.
Jackie Rivera is saying, I hope you guys come to Puerto Rico. Well, Jackie, that's going to happen. Horrific Film Fest is going to Puerto Rico. We're bringing a lot of celebrities. It's going to be an awesome 3 days, and it's coming pretty soon. So stay with us and the Horrific Film Fest a channel, and also go visit our website. We are going down to Puerto Rico. As soon as this COVID-19 goes away, Puerto Rico is one of our tours that we're going to go to. So I hope to see you at the event. Take it away, Marie.
Okay. So this one's for you, Razel.
All right.
Where did you get your name?
Our name Dark Footage Entertainment came from us filming our first horror film, and it was not like the slash and gash. It was more of a cop drama thriller. So that's how we, got the name Dark Footage, because we saw we had a logo. He looked sinister, and if you look in our logo, you'll see our logo soon up there, everybody. And the mask that's behind it, he was our inspiration to make the film Dark Footage. So it just stuck with us, and we kept it.
Okay. So I did see the logo and it looks pretty cool. Was that hard
Yeah,
to
there it is.
design?
Yeah, I got to give that up to my CEO, Eric Donnell Redden. He went to graphic school and all that good stuff. As you know, with graphic art, it's interesting. So yeah, he designs all the movie posters we did, our logo brand that you see there right there. So thank you for showing that.
Well, that's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. So Benjamin, this question's for you. How do we approach in editing someone else's work? What's your approach to that?
Okay. So a good example of that would be George's movie, The House of the Demon. Typically you want to start off just kind of follow the script as close as you can. But as you're working on it, you can sometimes start to find things that, are the way you can put shots together, the way you can structure scenes, and the way you can cross-cut between different scenes. So when I think from where George started with his script for House of the Demon to where we ended up in the middle of editing, once we got basically kind of an assembly of sort of what the movie was together, he and I were looking at it, and one of the other filmmakers on that one, and we were like, hey, we could do this cool thing here. We could change some of these things around, and we can move things. So it's very much a collaborative kind of thing, but it's basically you start off by kind of following the script that you're given. And then once you've got a rough assembly, then you can sit with the director and kind of have some freedom to see how they want to change things and stuff. It's also, there was another short film that I worked on recently, and sometimes you have these really great ideas and the director's like, no, I want to do something totally in the opposite direction. And so all of those great creative ideas that you had, you have to kind of be like, okay, well, I'll save those for the next project. And you have to sincerely look and see what the director wants. And in the case of this last one, the director was like, no, I want a completely different story. And it was she wanted the focus of the short film to be entirely on a different feeling and a different emotion. So so taking that, you go, okay, well, let's see what we can do to achieve that effect. So those are kind of the two biggest aspects of working with the director.
Interesting.
So Ben, now that you mentioned the Horrific Film Fest, before we show the trailer of the Horrific Film Fest, I mean the House of the Demon. Sorry about that. We're talking about the House of the Demon. Before we show the trailer of the House of the Demon, I want to shout out to Timothy Bill, big director, producer from Hollywood. He's with us tonight. Also our wrestler, So that's awesome. Thank you for being with us tonight. Timothy Bill is a good friend of mine, and for years, he's also represents a lot of celebrities. Thank you for being with us tonight, brother. I love you. Take care. He's over there in Los Angeles. Let's show the House of the Demon trailer.
All right. I'm not gonna be able to see it.
This is the house I told you about. They came out to find all those bodies.
Come on, this
This would be awesome.
No, I really
Nothing's
don't
gonna
want
happen.
to.
That was a long time ago.
The old death trap there. Ain't a great place.
When Charlie inherited he didn't know it came with a curse.
Lucifer Almighty, Gethsemane.
People go missing all the time. They move away, they run away, folks just lose track of them, and nobody ever hears from them again.
It's the house of the It's the house of the demons. It's the house of
No.
I didn't know you were going to show that.
All right, guys. So we're back real quick. So what do you thought about that little trailer of the House of the Demons? It's been a long time, man. We're talking about 2007, man. It's been a long time. So let's see what's in the future for us again, Ben. I want to shout out to some people out here that just came on board with us. This guy is from Puerto Rico, kind of like my brother, man. I love him. His name is Jose M. Reyes. He is an awesome guy, man. I love you too, bro. I love you too. You take care, man. And be careful with the COVID, okay? I don't want nothing to happen to you. There you go. We have another guy here, Lanier. Yes, Marie Raven is back. She is back with us. So I know you wanted to see her last week. She couldn't be with us, previous commitment, but she's all with us today. Let me see who else with us. So we're talking about Timothy Bill again, telling me about good stuff that's going to be happening pretty soon. So yes, we got to talk, brother. But I want to thank everybody that has been with us tonight here at this show. And stay tuned because next week, Halloween, we have two awesome guests that we have saved for Halloween night. We got Domingo Lopez saying, there you go, Marie. So we're getting some fans from Marie, and I love that. So take it away, Marie.
Thank you. Benjamin, this question's for you again.
Oh,
so everybody told me that you're not into horror. So how was it for you to work on House of the Demon?
well, so it's it's more a challenge of trying to get the story together and put it all together. So I typically don't watch a lot of horror movies. I do watch some, but I'm more of the I like more the Silence of the Lambs kind of horror movies, or I guess the more Alfred Hitchcock suspense kind of movies. And so working on House of the Demon was a bit of a challenge because it was going into a new area, but it was also really fun to get to try and do all that good stuff. I did something. I can't tell what it says.
You did miracles on my film. Miracles.
Oh, thank you. Well, it was it was really fun getting a chance to see how to put it all together and really make it work. And it's also a lot less scary when you see the behind this cut and everything. But I do. I remember I watched the final screener not too long ago with some friends. I was like, hey, let's watch this movie because they had never seen it. And,
Yeah.
they were like, wow, this is scary. And I got like these kind of, those goosebumps and things on it. I was like, but,
It's been great. Yeah.
thank you.
Well, Roselle, this one's for you.
All right.
What is your goal as a company?
Well, we built this brand because, like I said, we have a platform. Before we built our VOD platform, we also shot. We got noticed in Cannes, France. We did a lot of years over at the American Film Market. We travel state to state helping people with films. We got noticed in different awards and stuff like that. So our goal here, think of us like a red box on a demand to go, okay? Our goal here is to have people who have microfilms. If you don't know what that is, a microfilm is from 30 seconds to a minute. You can get paid for it. A short and a feature, and we have 3 tiers of payment that people can come and rent that movie and watch it, and they have a 48-hour length to watch that movie. Because, people go to work and all that good stuff, and then they can come back and watch the film. That's how we built the platform. So our goal is to get new filmmakers to get revenue so they can build something bigger to go to the bigger fish in the sea. I believe that everybody has a chance, and there's a lot of good films out here that's, as you guys know, that's short, that's not getting paid for it. So our goal is to make sure that they get paid for those, as long as if they have a feature and they can build something bigger from that. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
For me, no, but I'm sure it does make sense to people who do films and stuff like that. And speaking of
Okay.
films, what do you look for when you're looking for the short films or how to represent people?
Just like our other friend up there in the corner, how he edits, okay? We got to look for good, with a good film has, if the sound's not correct or the color is off, like, you in a night scene, especially with horror, like George's film, okay? If you have a night scene and it's daytime over here and the night kind of like to shine up the actors, and then you cut scene to the next and it's dark, that's really bad editing. So what you need to do is get a good editor. So we look for good editing, good storyline that's driven. It has to make sense, a start, a middle, and an ending. And the acting and everything else, but the technical stuff has to be on point for us to even pass you onto the platform. So just keep that in mind. And it's not hard to do. You just got to fine-tune, comb your film.
Wow, that's a very, very interesting. Well, I don't know,
So,
but
so,
you know,
so,
that's
so some people here are asking me about about the ghost story of the House of the Demon. I mentioned that last time we talked about it.
Nice.
Tim, I know me and Tim, we talk a lot way back, and I told him everything was what was going on in that house and stuff like that. We did all that story last time, but it's funny because you still remember what I told you and how these stuff happened doing an independent film and that plantation house. So yeah, but we'll go back to that story later on another day on Halloween night. We'll get some of that story. That's gonna be good for that time. I want to say hi to Maribel Rivera from Puerto Rico. She's here with us tonight. There's a lot of people from Puerto Rico watching us because they know that the Terrific Film Fest is coming soon to the island, and we're bringing the best celebrities. So you got to stay tuned with us at the channel and also at the website. And who knows, maybe Dark Footage will do some distribution for a lot of filmmakers from Puerto Rico, because we have a lot of good filmmakers in the island. I'm telling you. And they're going to be in my film fest. We're going to see their movies, and it's going to be an awesome 3 days at the island. So stay tuned for that. And right now, we'll continue with Marie Raven.
Okay. So Benjamin, this one's for you. I noticed that you won an Emmy Award in 2003 on Taken. So can you tell us a little bit about that? How exciting was that?
So I got nominated for an Emmy for some of the work that I did on the miniseries. That it's not the Liam Neeson movie. It's a miniseries that Steven Spielberg produced for the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was about space aliens and stuff. So we got nominated for an Emmy for working on that, and I got to go to the Emmys, which was really cool. Rub elbows with other actors and stuff. But we also we did win an award, and I say we because it was me and the other sound editors. We all share the award. So we got a Golden Reel Award for it. We received that, and I like it. It's
There it is. Yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is.
it's got an angel holding a reel.
I like to thank everybody. You know, pretty cool, man.
It was pretty. It was a really exciting thing to win, and that was one of my my proudest achievements was working on that show. It was really good. So.
Oh, wow, it must have been amazing for you.
Well, it was. And I work on a lot of different genres. You asked about working on George's horror movie. George was kind of the first horror movie. After that, it was like, oh, hey, this is fun. I'm going to do more of these.
There you go.
That is one other thing about working on horror movies is that you kind of get hooked on them. So
That's true.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm going to move on to you, Roselle.
All right.
Let's see what I have for you.
So before we go to the next question, let me shout out real quick to Jerry Connor. Man, Jerry from the Hellgrim band. I'm telling you, that's my favorite band in San Antonio, guys. You got to listen to the band Hellgrim. It's an awesome band. And also, he has a good project that is coming soon to the screen. So we're going to be hearing a lot of good things about that band. If you haven't heard Hellgrim, that's a band you gotta listen to, man. I love that band. So shout out to him that he's with us tonight. And I see some other Outlander. I've seen the series, very cool. I guess he's talking about The Taken, the series.
Thank you.
That's an awesome series, man. The Taken is UFO alien.
It's awesome.
It's just an awesome, and I remember the first time I met Ben. When they told me, my friend told me, yeah, I know Benjamin Martin. He's an Emmy Award winner for the Steven Spielberg The Taken. I was like, stop lying. And he was like, no, I could introduce you to him. And I got to meet Ben the first time, and very humble guy. And I see the Emmy, and for him, it's just, he's a very humble guy. So I'm like, for me, I'm freaking out. Here I got a guy who have worked in so many projects, like, not only The Taken, but he had worked like A Son of Our Fear, Buffy the Vampire, on Star Trek The Next Generation. Come on, Jimmy Neutron, the cartoon. Come on. This guy has a background of a lot of big movies and TV series. And here I am with The House of the Demon, and I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my God. Well, I mean, this guy has big projects, and now he's taking an independent film. But Ben was humble enough to guide me and help me. And like he was saying, hey, he did miracles with that movie, but I'm always going to be grateful for it. And that's what you call a good editor, good sound guy that is going to help the independent filmmakers.
Yes.
And Ben is one of those person. Not only he takes big projects from Hollywood, but he also helps the filmmakers from Texas. And if you guys out there need some help from Ben and you got some budget, make sure to go to redmarsh.net. You contact Ben at redmarsh.net and he'll get back with you. It might not be the same day, but he'll get back with you. And I'll
get back with you, definitely. Give it a few days, maybe.
I know Ben's very busy. I know he's a very busy person, but he'll get back with you guys.
Well, thank you, George. I was just going to say, I was just going to say, you also gave me a great opportunity because yours was actually the first feature that I got to edit as the just to be the picture editor for the whole feature. It's one of the great things about working with independent filmmakers, especially ones who are, really dedicated to finishing the film, is that you get the opportunity to expand and work harder and try better things. And so I really appreciated the opportunity that you were giving me to show off some good stuff. So thank you.
You got it, Ben. Take it away, Marie.
Thank you. Well, Roselle, this question's for you. And what types of genres do you accept on your platform?
Okay, first, the genres we take first, of course, my lovely horrors and spook shows. That's what we're about. But we take everything else from comedies to dramedies, you name it, dramas, action, all that stuff. We take all genres now. Children's films, kind of like the Stranger Things, things like that. We take all types of films. We had to be open because at first we were just nothing but horror. So then we opened up to everybody else because there's a lot of good films and everything. And we take animes. Yeah, and we take animes and cartoons and all that stuff as well.
Wow. Is there a difference between the anime and the regular films? Does it take a lot more for the production for it?
Well, I'm sure Mr. Ben over there can tell you with the editing. It depends on, when you edit, and what I do know from editing, what we look for is the difference is animation can take a little longer, in my opinion, because it's more to it. Think of it like the flip book. If you draw these pictures and you start flipping through the pages and you want them to all sync together, it's a little more. It's a little more because then you got to bring in the voice actors. You got to do all this stuff. You got to do all this changing digitally and then physically. So, but with movies, you have it right there for you, and then you can go in and grab scenes and see what makes sense and all that good stuff. So they're both interesting to me. So that's why we open up the door for also the animations as well.
Wow, it's like a lot of work into that one.
Oh yeah.
So Benjamin, this is questions for you. What is the difference between 2D and 3D for people like me that don't know the difference?
Oh, okay. So let's see. So for animation wise, 2D would be there's a couple of different ways that could be answered. For animation, 2D animation is where you're working on a flat plane. So that's like a piece of paper. So someone draws the image and animates it, and they might have layers that they'll. That's kind of the traditional Disney animation, was they would layer the flat images one on top of the other. So everything from like Flintstones and Simpsons and all of those shows, they all started off being, we're going to draw the image, and whatever you see is something that was hand drawn. Okay. And 3D is where you create a computer model in the computer, and the computer renders the so if, let's say I wanted to model this glass, I would model this like a 3D model in the computer. And so that's like Toy Story and stuff, where they've created these 3D models. And then once I'm not going to sit there and draw each, you can't necessarily draw all of these little fine details and everything, and do that, 24 frames a second if you're going to have a shot going around this glass that's going to have a perspective shift. Or if I was just going to rotate it like this, I mean, if you can imagine trying to draw that by hand, that's a lot of drawing and difficulty. But if you're doing it in a computer, you basically model it, you set a texture of how you want it to look, and then they would create a virtual light in the computer, and then when it moves, you could get basically a photorealistic image depending on how much time you spent on it, working in 3D animation that way. And so that's why you see a lot of special effects in movies. They talk about doing the 3D animation. It's modeling it in the computer, whether it's going to be a solid object like a spaceship or an organic shape like Thanos in is it going to be Iron Man's suit where it's a hard object and it shines and reflects the light, or is it going to be Thanos, who's kind of a big purple jowly guy who's going to move and stuff. And if it's done well enough, you can kind of fool the audience to make them think that you're actually seeing a special effect. But that's kind of what that is. Now, the other possible thing is there's sometimes it's applied to 3D being like if you go to see Avatar and you put on the glasses. What that is, there is a lot of 3D animation in the visual effects you're seeing on the screen, but when they talk about seeing a movie in real D or 3D that way, where you have the glasses on, what that is where they have basically in a standard movie, you've got one like this right here would be a normal film where there's one image and both of our eyes are seeing the one image and it's a flat thing. But in where they're doing it in 3D projection, they have two images. So it's like two copies of the same film, and one of them is about, the difference between my eyes is about 3 inches. So when they're filming it with a camera, they actually have 2 camera lenses, and they end up with basically 2 copies of the movie, and one of them is basically 3 inches over to the left. And the glasses, when you put on those special glasses, if you ever see a 3D movie again and you want to see what it looks like without the glasses on, you can pull the glasses off. Everything will look like a double image, because what you're seeing is 2 images, and this is a very technical way of looking at it, but basically they shot the movie at, they ran the camera and they had 2 rolls of, we'll call it film, but it's digital, going, one for each eye. And then when they project it back, if they want to show it in a standard theater where you don't have to wear the glasses, but they just use this eye. And then if they want to show it in, charge you the extra full immersive enjoyment of getting a real D experience, then the projector actually blasts both of those images out to the screen at the same time. And I had an interesting experience once where one of the projectors cut off in the middle of a movie theater. And so it was just one eye, and I thought like something had popped in my eye, because I was like, why is this eye not working? Because the way the glasses work is they filter it out, so you only see one image per eye. And I was like, something's in my eye.
Wow. It's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, Outlayer is saying here CAD software maybe.
Yes, that is a type of 3D software. So they usually, CAD is usually used for architectural basics, building things for architectural purposes. Although they're actually owned by the same company that now owns almost all the major computer animation software for doing movies like the new, all the animated stuff that Disney makes, as well as doing the special effects stuff. Usually 3D Studio Max or Maya is the one that they usually use for most of the movies, mainly for the way that it handles animation, I think, is, at least that's what I last heard. 3D Studio Max is basically the same software. It's actually owned by the same company now, because they've all kind of conglomerated and bought each other. That one's more used for video games for some reason. And then the other one that has been doing a surprisingly high number of special effects, especially in indie movies, is Blender, which is actually free and open source. It's kind of confusing to try and learn that one, but their goal is basically to be on par with the same ones that you could do for making visual effects and stuff. But if you know CAD, and if you're modeling things in CAD, you can either render them in CAD, or you can usually save it and reopen it in one of those other softwares and render it out of those. And sometimes they just have rendering software that you basically, it will grab whatever CAD file it is, and it's like its own standalone bit of software. So it doesn't matter what you designed it in. You basically have the rendering software makes the actual image. And when I say rendering, that's where the computer paints the image. So
okay, I have a question here from Timothy Bill. It says, do you guys prefer practical effects or CGI effects?
Mm.
Which one? Any of you? Maybe I could go first with dark footage, and then I could go with
Okay.
Ben.
Okay. Practical effects. For me, practical effects is awesome because you're a new filmmaker, right? We all know everything is budget. Like if you want to do what Ben's saying, that takes budget. That you got to get somebody to do all these effects that just don't look like you did in the backyard. So if you get something that's practical and you shoot it correctly, that's awesome. Okay. And we do like the other side. The other effects are great. But people understand behind the scenes, you got to have those people in command who can do all that to make your film look good. Because you just don't want to do like if there's like a monster in the sky or a spaceship and it doesn't have the right rendering, like Ben said, you can tell the difference that it was artificially put in there to it's in there. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So, yeah. So I like both, but I really like the first one, the practical. If you can shoot a film that looks practical and it's still scary or it still sells the sci-fi, whatever you're trying to do, that's awesome. That's
with the
like
prosthetics, like the monster prosthetics, everything that looks like a real monsters. That's why I love 80s movies. You know, movies nowadays, they'll have a lot of CGI. Everything is so fake, computerized. Even the monster is computerized. And you can say it looks so cheap. And even if you have a good celebrity, the monster looks cheap because it's CGI, you know, where in the 80s, you created a monster like Pumpkinhead, like all these big creatures, you know, and that was badass. And
the
and
animatronics
these guys,
too.
electronics monster, these guys, they did some awesome job as special effect artists that, come on, you would be scared of the monsters. Now, Ben, what do you think about that? What do you think about CGI, or you prefer CGI or you prefer special effects?
I actually I'm more about which one looks good, and just like you know you were saying there, it's if you can tell that it's an effect, then maybe not. But I've seen some pretty lousy practical effects, but when they're done good, they're really good. And I've also seen some deplorably horrible digital compositing and stuff where it's the best effects are usually the ones that like you don't actually know they're there, or you forget that it's a special effect there. But I watched Clash of the Titans a while back, and those special effects are in no way, you're not going to mistake those for reality. Yet they're so fun to watch.
The clay animation was something else.
Yeah, I mean that was like they're just so great, and they've got such character with them. And even though that's not really a Medusa, it feels like she's really. I mean, something's stalking that guy. So it depends on how well it's used in the film. I think is like the main source of that. So. But yeah, if you can get away with doing some really good practical effects, that's always the best start of it. Yeah, animatronics is a great. I mean, when someone's doing like a great job, especially with like, the stuff that Jim Henson and
Labyrinth.
Stan Winston.
Labyrinth.
Yeah, Labyrinth, and then Stan Winston whenever he would make his special effects, like. But the best is when they're kind of, I think, used together, because like there's been some times where some of the visual effects, someone did some CGI on some stuff, and they showed me some of their shots, and I'm like, where's your CGI? And they're like, it's right there. And I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that was a computer effect.
Yes. So Ben, I'm gonna show to you guys. I'm gonna show a trailer. I'm not gonna tell you what trailer is this. I'm gonna show you the trailer, and then I want to come back to you, Ben. Okay? I'm gonna show you the trailer right now. So we're gonna get ready for this.
I can't see the trailer.
So Ben,
Yes, sir.
so
That
what
looks
do you
great.
think about this? Is a trailer that J. Renee Moons prepared for his book. Now, I want to go directly to you because I know that you read the book. Give me your
Got
opinion
the
on
book with me.
it. There you go. What's your thought on that book?
Oh, I thought it was a great story. I mean, it was definitely it really you just get a great delving into the life of this detective and his his sudden terrifying eye-opening experience about this I don't want to give it away. I'm trying to but I felt like it was really good that you're seeing these this detective who's going through all these supernatural things, and as it showed in the trailer, he's risen from the dead, and it's feeling that story from his perspective. It just kind of I think it was great because I like the law enforcement perspective from it. That you're seeing it from the perspective of this police officer who died in the line of duty and stuff, and I think that really kind of got my heart going for it. And they also mentioned, of course, the Templar who shows up in it, and
Yes.
which is this entirely different character. So yeah, I definitely I can't wait to see that see that film. And by the way, that is a great trailer that you have put together, man.
Yeah, they put that trailer together. Let me tell you something. That's how you know how weird J. Renee Moons his mind goes. I mean, this man is awesome. He not only did this crazy book that since you start reading, you can't let it go. And then once you finish the book, right, you like everything starts like going crazy in your mind. There's so many crazy things this guy did in this book. Guess what? He has the second book now coming out. Everybody needs to buy that book. You know why? It's in English and it's also in Spanish. And let me tell you something. If you like the first book, I can't tell you the spoiler. I know a couple of things already about the second book, but when it comes out, it's gonna be awesome. So I can't wait.
I'm
really
looking
can't
forward
wait.
to it. I didn't know it was coming out.
You guys
All
got to
right.
read it. Dark Footage. If you haven't read this book, man, you need to read a book. You're gonna go ballistic with it. I mean, I think it's awesome. It has won so many awards, man. He won an award in Miami. He won an award in Los Angeles.
Wow.
I mean, this guy. I call J. Renee Moons. I call him the Quentin Tarantino. That he's always like thinking so crazy in movies. He has a million ideas in his head. But that's Renee with his books. You start reading this book and it starts in the city. It jumps in vampires. There's things going on, and you'll be like, "What the heck is going on here?" It's an amazing book, and I recommend it to everybody that likes to read a good book. This is a good book. You guys gonna enjoy it. You guys gonna enjoy it, and it's in Spanish and it's also in English. So
Nice.
that's the pretty good stuff about it, So for my Puerto Rican people, español, and the people in the
Español.
state, we got it in English, yeah. So let's take it away, Marie. Take it away.
Muted. There we go. I was having a little trouble.
No, yeah, I lost you for a second.
No. Okay, Rizal, this one's for you. On the
Right.
horror genre, what movie do you like the most for streaming for your platform?
What type of horror are you saying I like to be on the platform?
Yes.
Okay, we take them all. I mean, the slash and gas, the Jason Voorhees type thing. But what we really like to see, because we've been at other film festivals besides George, and we actually screened over 3,000 something films recently. 3,000 something. It was a lot of work, but the ones we did enjoy was the suspense. There's always something about the suspense horror that you don't know what's going to happen to you. Kind of like in Insidious. Okay, you know there's something strange going on, and it takes a minute for you to really get psychologically. Because when you get psychologically flipped out and spooked out, that is the most crazy scare compared to like seeing a monster right away or you can see something in front of you, then you can react. But when you don't know what's going on, the unknown, that's more scary. So that's the type of stuff we like those as well. Those are our favorites. But we like the other ones too.
Awesome, awesome. So Benjamin, this one's for you. This one's a little more of a personal question. I know you like Skillet. It's one of your favorite bands. For me, Compose is my favorite song. What is yours?
Skillet?
Skillet.
I'm afraid I don't think that was a question for me.
It was one that I researched. I actually did some research on you, and I read that was one of your favorite bands. So I just would like to know what it was.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Your favorite song from Skillet.
okay. So let's see. I don't know the name of it, but there was like about 4 or 5 songs that they did. That this is the Icelandic band, I believe, correct? Yeah. Okay. Good. I just want to make sure I got the one. So they're probably there are about 4 or 5 songs that they have that are about just kind of like Nordic season changes. And those are the ones that I've got on a loop that I have in the background when I'm working sometimes. So I was, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize the band's name. But yes, they're a band that I discovered, and I liked. I wish I knew the names of them. If you give me 5 minutes, I can maybe look it up. But no, go check out. It's the top 5 songs that they have on YouTube, I believe. So,
Okay.
but that is actually one time that the YouTube algorithm worked in my favor, and they said, "Hey, we think you'd like this band," and I was like, "Yes, I do." So, thank you.
I got some comments here from a good friend of mine from Puerto Rico, Jose Reyes. Louis Morton is an incredible, and I guess he's reading it. So, well, you got to stay tuned for the second book. It's going to be much better, and a lot of things are going to happen in that book. But to also say for those writers from Puerto Rico, we got some awesome writers in Puerto Rico, awesome filmmakers. They're doing big stuff for Marvel, DC. They have their own comics. I can't wait to go to the island with the Horrific Film Fest and meet all those artists, painters, editors, these guys that do comics. I can't wait to meet all of them. I mean, you got some awesome talent at the island, and Jose Reyes, he's one of them. So I'm very happy that he's with us tonight. He's been with us since we started. So thanks, bro. I appreciate that.
Oh, hey, guys, I see somebody's asking about creepers versus jump scares. So I can answer that too. You want me to go first, or you want to take it away, Ben?
Oh no, you.
Okay.
You can go first. That's fine.
Okay. Creep scares. Real quick, I worked Halloween Horror Nights here and Universal Studios for years. I was a chainsaw captain. Horror is my thing. So this is what I would teach my guys. We would say creepers versus jumps. Okay. Creepers is a lot more scarier because when you see the victim coming in and they don't know what's going on, like I said, you don't know what's going on. And then you feel like something's watching you. And then actually, before you know it, there it is. That's a really good scare. Jump scares are quick, fun, fast, awesome. It just gets your adrenaline going. So, I would say creepers are a little more scary, in my opinion. Jump scares are just quick and fast. How about you, Ben? What do you think?
Same way, yeah. And they always the only thing I would add to it, I watched the old Frankenstein, the original Boris Karloff Frankenstein.
Yes.
There's a scene in that movie after he's dangerous. He's like creeping up through the window, and it's a wide shot, and this woman is sitting there. She's in her wedding dress, and she's thinking about things and stuff. She's looking the wrong direction, and he's like coming up close to her, to her, and I was watching with my 6-year-old, and he's like, "Turn around!"
And also,
he
go ahead.
probably wouldn't have done that if it had been just roar. He
Right.
might have had a good jump, but that him sitting there going, "Turn around, lady!"
And see, another creep scare is if you guys remember the first Aliens. Okay, you did not see that alien till when she was in the pod escaping. She's been fighting this thing, has been killing the crew, and then when he would, because you know how they have the head dome, he was sleeping along the pipes, and his head was disguised as a pipe. And when he moved, woo! When I was like 8 years old, I was like, "Oh my God, he's up in there with her!" So, creep scares are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Marie?
Yeah.
I do remember the movie Alien, but not to quote a certain scene. It's been a while. And for me, I think
what was? Yeah, go ahead.
I think I like more the jump scares.
The jump scares.
Jump scares cool.
I'm more into the creeper. I don't know if you guys remember Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
Remember the part with the little kid in the window, and he's asking to open the window.
Creepy.
To his friend or his brother, I don't remember, but I think it was his friend. Excuse me. And he was like with the vampires and the makeup, and he was like, open the door. That was so creepy. And it had like a little smoke, coming out.
Remember that?
And he was in the air. That was a pretty creepy thing. So I like more of that than jumps. Nowadays you get a lot of jumpy movies, kind of like Paranormal Activity, all that kind of movie for you to jump. People jump and scream. I like more the creepiness when they're coming slowly and the person doesn't know about it, and like Ben says, his kid's like, turn around, and you just want to scream, can you see it? Can you see him? He's behind you.
Yep, he's in there.
Those are the kind of things. Yes.
Yeah. There was on the counterpoint of that, there was one of those movies from the Annabelle series, or I can't remember what they're called, but it's the I can't remember. I don't remember the name of the first one, but there was one scene that really got me, where like the little girl is saying something like, "There's someone in the corner. There's someone in the corner." And she could see him, but no one else could.
Oh, that was. I think that was Insidious when the grandmother was seeing. Yeah, was watching him, and it was standing in the corner, had the long fingernails pointing at the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
And then it finally lets the audience see it, and there was a big jump scare for that. That was horrifying. Like,
that's a good jump scare.
That's the way to do a jump scare, because but that always gets me more than not having the jump scare, or that always gets me more than like not knowing that it's there and just out of the blue all of a sudden someone dives in. I think a lot of times movies try to do a fake out, and so they try to do like the music kind of rears up, and like you hear it's building up, and like the strings start going, and it's you're gonna see there, and then it's like they close the door and there's nothing behind the door, or it turns out to be someone going, "Ha ha, I fooled you." And it's nothing that you need to worry about. But when it's done well, a jump scare can be good. But it's got to be like, even if it's a fake out jump scare or something else. But I feel like a lot of times now people are like, okay, we're gonna scare you, and we're gonna stroke the violin, and we're gonna have the person turn around. You're gonna be really tight on the person, and then it's a fake out. And so they've kind of made them not as effective, I feel like.
So guys, before we close the show for tonight, I'm gonna leave you with Marie Raven. She probably have like 2 more questions, so before we could end tonight.
All right.
But for me, I want to thank everybody for being in the show. So take it away, Marie.
Roselle, this one's for you. Do you do a lot of festivals?
Yes, we got into the festivals 2 years ago. I want to once again thank George. I was traveling cross country to thank George for having me there, and it was good. And we got to see how a lot of filmmakers, from what we told them, we're not just telling you, oh, you have to have a good film to put up on the platform. We also help them, like what makes a movie sell, what makes the movie interesting for any platform, not just us. that will be interested in taking you on. So that was good. I've been cross country, like 10 states. Yeah, 12 states doing the seminar. So George was my first one. And then after that, it went from there. So thank you, George. So you the first.
Well, that seems interesting. Wow. I haven't been to one just yet, but I'm hoping for next year.
There you go. We'll see you. We want to also go down to Puerto Rico too with George there too. We setting that up. Yeah.
Benjamin, this one's for you. When you approach your design, sound design to mixing, what is that? Well, how is that?
For sound, okay, so sound design is when you either design a sound effect. Sci-fi usually has a lot of sound design of coming up with spaceship sounds or things like that. And sound editing, sound effect editing is when you're adding sounds into the scene to kind of paint a sort of fill out the picture and make it feel like you're really in the space. They call it hyper real sound a lot of times, where you are putting a bunch of specific sound effects in the scene. The idea is not to like just add a whole bunch of junk in there, but to like add, a sound of a doorknob, a sound of, something to make you feel like as an audience member you're actually in the space. And then sound design would be designing an effect like a ray gun or something that's gonna make you, because your brain kind of does a neat thing where it will see something happen and hear a sound. And so if you do a ray gun and a cat meows, you have a meowing ray gun. So you can actually have some interesting things. The famous story for the Star Wars lasers is that Ben Burtt was banging a wrench on a high tension wire, and that created that noise that is the laser's typical laser sound for Star Wars. Sorry. And mixing it though is when you take all the stuff that's been recorded and you been recorded and been edited, including the dialogue from the set, and you try to put it together in such a way that you can clearly understand every word that's spoken, even if it's in the middle of a hurricane. Somehow you've managed to isolate enough of it that you're going to be able to hear, the actors' voices. Because if you can't hear the dialogue, then people tend to be like, "This movie isn't very professional." That's like one of the first turnoffs if you can't hear the dialogue. And then the second thing is making it so that all of the sound effects and everything have kind of a loud spots and quiet spots that you're watching it. But if you're watching it, you would never have to grab your remote control and turn the sound up or turn the sound down. You want it to be basically uniform across in terms of the audience experience. So you're going to, be hearing all the dialogue at the same level, even if the person's whispering. And you're going to hear all the sound effects, even if they're super loud sound effects. You don't want people to go like, turn this down. Gonna wake up the neighbors. So you want it to basically be the kind of thing where you can have a good user experience of listening to the movie. And it looks like George there's got a little something going on.
Yeah, something going on.
You guys were talking about Sinister. I have a whole bunch of masks here of Sinister and all the horror monsters in the back, if you could see them. I have more under there too. I have a whole collection of masks that have been signed. But sadly, our show has ended. And I want to thank everybody for being in our show. Thank you for my co-host, Marie Raven, for some awesome questions. Thank you, Razel from Dark Footage Entertainment VOD over there in California. Thank you. Right. I hope you can help a lot of filmmakers, not only in the state, but also in Puerto Rico. And yes. I hope you could be with us next year in the island, where we're going to take the Horrific Film Fest tour to the island and have a good time for 3 days over there at the island. Ben, it's always good to talk to you, man. You're my buddy, and I really appreciate that. everything that you had done for me, and thank you for being with us tonight. I know you always got a busy schedule. I want to thank everybody that came to us to the show. Domingo Lopez, Timothy Beal, Lainer, we got Daisy Rodriguez, Maribel Rivera, who else? Jose Reyes, Jackie Rivera. Thank you for all being in the show tonight. Love you guys all, and see you guys on next week. It's the Halloween special. We got 2 awesome guests, so I see you guys next week at the same time and the same channel. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
good night.
Thank
All right,
you.
good night, guys.
Good
I'll
night.
see you. We keep in touch.